Right, you can start anytime.
Well, we're out here in the garden, and today it's just me and Anna Rogers. She's, of course, the creator of all this, and she's going to explain her garden to us today and a little bit more about composting at the end of our discussion. So here's Anna.
Hi. So my husband and I and our two little ones live very close to this field out here. Our house kind of backs up to it, and we got involved in the community garden as soon as we moved here to Billings and have been involved in that for a few years. And we have a dream to be small-scale sustainable farmers one of these days. And so after working out in the garden and talking with people at the church who were looking for something to do with the land and wanting to kind of turn it into something that was had a community connection to the land, thinking sustainably, we suggested that, hey, we could put a garden in here. So this is our garden that we've started this year. Our practices are doing almost entirely no-till. So we did till a little bit where we put in potatoes this year, but the goal is to not be doing any tillage. We laid cardboard down in this first bed right here. This is a giant bed that is about 25 by 100 feet. So we laid cardboard that we got from Earth First Aid. And then we laid compost from Agri Organics, so it's organic compost that we laid on top.
And how many tons of compost did you
We got 2 rounds of 8 yards of compost, so 2 full truckloads. And each year we'll add a little bit more compost. So compost is key. We don't fertilize, we don't add chemicals. The compost is what is helping us maintain healthy soil, making sure that we have all the nutrients that we need. And then the healthy soil creates healthy plants that don't have a lot of problems with bugs or disease or anything like that. So we laid all of the compost, and then the goal this year was kind of just to get our structure in place. Rob helped us by digging trenches and laying irrigation pipe. We got some overhead irrigation in place, which was really important this year with all the heat. We're creating a living border that's going to be around the bed. So we've got a few raised boxes that will eventually, this year I put some annual vegetables and stuff in there, as well as some flowers. But the goal for those will be that will be more perennial flowering plants, some strawberries, rhubarb, things that are going to keep coming back every year. And then inside the 25 by 100 foot bed, we will tarp it with this. You can see this big tarp. It's called a silage tarp. We'll tarp it with that at the beginning of the growing season, kill off the weeds, and then plant into a weed-free zone to start. So that's definitely a challenge we have out here. There's a lot of grass that's creeping in, a lot of morning glory that we're dealing with. So every year the soil will get healthier. The weed problem should get better. We are playing a long game, not an immediate results game. So that is, our goal is just every year work more and more on this and have it produce more and become healthier and healthier soil. I'm planning to put some raspberry plants in around the edges. I've got a lot of native pollinator plants from Anthony at the Audubon Center. He hooked me up with a ton of seeds, so I'm going to be able to put those around, kind of create a windbreaker, especially around the back. This year I put in some green bean plants, almost 100 of them. I put them in thinking, these are old seeds I have. Worst case scenario, legumes fix nitrogen into the soil, and so I figured worst case we'll get some nitrogen in the soil through these plants, but ended up having great production out of them and harvesting them over and over and selling to the community or giving away. We even gave a bunch of veggies to the people that take the garbage out at the church. I would just leave them vegetables when I would see them. We had some potatoes that we harvested. The middle section was a lot of winter squash, and so after that frost last Thursday, I was able to pick, I had almost 40 buttercup squash, some acorn squash. I have butternut that is still in there. I'm waiting on it to ripen a little more. and some giant blue Hubbards that are curing in the sun in our backyard now.
But do your kids eat the vegetables? That's what
They
I'm-
do.
they
So
do.
we had a lot of ground cherries, which if you've never tried that, that's something to look into or come out to our garden to try next year.
They're delicious.
The kids eat those before they even get in the house. They eat green beans off the vine, tomatoes, anything that's out here, they'll eat.
Jack loves the green beans. He's
Yeah.
really happy with those.
They'll eat carrots out of the ground, so will the dog. And then one thing that I also try to do is, and this relates to composting, is at the end of the season, so we're kind of getting close to that now, and some stuff I've already actually cut and pulled out. So you can kind of see this was a giant squash plant. I cut it at the base of the plant, leave the roots in the ground to break down, create air pockets in the soil, and then use the tops and lay them down as mulch. So I actually have the tops of squash plants mulching some of the new native pollinator plants, that I planted last week is when we planted those. Some things, this lettuce over here, I'm letting it go to seed so that I can collect some of those seeds. I'm taking seeds from a lot of our green bean plants. I have those at our house. A lot of our flowers, like the calendula, it seeds out, and I try to collect that and reuse that. So that's a practice that we're also using here. And then this space over here, we plan to put another bed in. We've already got the water trenched and hooked up over there. But the compost guy he's selling his compost faster than he can make it. So we are, as soon as we can get compost, I was hoping to do it this fall, but it may be that we're doing in the spring like we did with this bed this past year. So we'll do the same thing, lay down cardboard, put compost on, and then in this bed we'll be adding more compost and kind of creating raised beds within this big bed. So it'll just look like long humps of soil, and that's what we'll plant into. I'd love to add some gooseberry plants. Maybe next year, if we don't get this bed in, do like a little pumpkin patch kind of on the side, have a strip, and then just kind of train the plants out to the side so they're not taking up as much room in the big bed.
Anna, how did you get started in this gardening business?
Well, so I was a graphic communications major in college, and I've worked in the marketing industry ever since I graduated. But then I went back to school, I guess, when we lived in North Carolina, and got a horticulture degree because I just started home gardening and loved it and was really interested in urban gardening, urban farming. And then I've just been gardening on my own, trying to make the best use that I can out of our yard. But we have a lot of giant trees in our yard, so we get a lot of shade. So did we do 4 beds last year?
We did.
We did 4 beds out of the community garden last year.
Now
And
3 this year.
yeah, so I just love gardening, and my husband, he really enjoys, we just both want to farm. We want to have our hands in the dirt and be working the land and eating off the land, and we'd love to even incorporate animals into something one day. So
You have a website?
we do have a website. So the name of the garden is Midtown Market Garden. A market garden is a small garden that provides produce to market. And Midtown is the area of Billings that we're in, and I love this area of Billings. I feel like it's just kind of close to everything and the connector point between downtown and the West End. And our goal is to be a part of this community and be providing produce to our neighbors at a reasonable cost, and that's good and healthy and nutritious for them. So midtownmarketgarden.com is our website. You can sign up to get emails. I would love if you sign up. I only send out emails to tell you about produce that's available, so no spam.
And Facebook. too.
Yep, we're on Facebook and Instagram. You can see pictures of my kids eating vegetables and
Great
fun
photos.
things like that.
Evidence.
Recipe ideas. I do a lot of recipe ideas or inspiration. So
Do you have produce for sale at the present time on your website?
right now, the only thing I have, so we sold all of our summer stuff that we had harvested, which again, it was not much this year because this was really just a building year, but we did have some to sell. I do have a lot of the winter squash that I harvested, and I'm selling some of that. So
Still beans. There's still beans out here.
yeah, I need to go pick the beans.
And
again.
if somebody wanted to pickle beans, they'd be perfect for pickled
Yes.
beans. They're huge.
So yeah, my email address is on the website if you want to shoot me an email, and yeah, got some stuff still left.
Wonderful.
Awesome. We just love having Caleb and Anna so involved in our whole concept for this property. And today they're going to be talking to the students that are going to develop
Right,
more.
yeah.
So.
And we're really thankful. I mean, we love the opportunity to come out here and have space to run around and see everything, the songbird garden and the community garden and the playground, and working out in our garden is just really a nice space, and we're thankful to the church for everything that you guys have done for us. So
Yeah, you guys are very, very welcome here. That's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Great job.